Swahili.
Has not done that before. That's a new option in the update.
Library.
I'd like to call the meeting to order at 4:30 for the City of Sweet Home Library Board monthly meeting. Do we need to call roll call? It doesn't sound like I'm on.
It does not sound like you're on.
Check, check.
Check, check. They blew the-
Well, I don't know if it timed out.
Hmm.
Is that meeting?
Check, check.
I'd like to call the City of Sweet Home Library Board meeting for January 9th at 4:30. Do we need a roll call?
Yep. Committee member Jim Corley. Committee member Castaneda. Committee member Wise.
Here.
Committee member Hicks.
Here.
Committee member Journey.
Present. So our first order of business is to review and approve the meeting minutes from December 12th, 2024. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes, or are there any comments about the minutes?
So moved.
Okay, I have a motion to approve the minutes from December 12th, 2024. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, thank you very much. And now we will move on to report of the Library Services Director.
All right, the first topic we'll talk about is collections. So Kira and I are looking at the possibility of creating a middle grade collection area for like 8 to 13-year-olds. This should be able to help us with some of our space problems in both the kids area and the teen area. We're hoping, but it also require buying a little bit more for that age group as well. And there's such a difference between a board book and a novel, between a 0 and a 12-year-old, that we just want to make a space a little more comfortable. Our Western collection is not checking out super great anymore. So that can be condensed down a little bit, and we have some space to move that. So it would be in that little horseshoe area. Not the best location for tweens, I know, but that's what we have. And I still think them having their own little space will still make them happy. Albany last week just made the decision to do this as well and opened their collection. And so we're going to see how theirs is going and what they expected and didn't expect and all that. And then probably the next few months move forward with that here if all the outcomes look good.
Do we know how many tweens have been using our books, or?
All I have is anecdotal and, visiting the junior high, and a lot of them want programming and stuff like that.
Great.
So, and they've also asked for a game night specific to like 10 to 13-year-olds, because right now our teen game night is only 13 plus.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to have a parent there if, for Oregon law, if you're under 10, there has to be a parent with you. You can't just leave the child.
You do Dungeons and Dragons.
We don't right now, but there used to be a junior high school group that met at the library, but now they're meeting at the True Tato Gaming. Building issues. The only thing that we've changed this month is people are no longer allowed to have shopping carts full of their stuff on our property. And that's kind of because they were starting to block the alleyway and some other spots. And we can apply the same rules we have inside to outside, so we're not allowing those on the property anymore. It is considered a felony to be in possession of one of the shopping carts from local places around here. So we prefer they not have them there. It's causing a little bit of trouble, but PD is kind of handling some of that for us.
So yeah, I mean, I've noticed that they're there, and it's really a problem. And I wondered about the table that we had placed there, which seemed like a good idea at the time, but maybe has turned out not to be a good idea. I don't know if you've thought about that.
The people that mostly are hanging out there right now were just hanging out on the bench out front. So I'd rather have them on the side, or they would be over at the bus stop.
Because I've seen them at the round table.
Yeah, they've been at the table. I would rather have them at the table on this side of the building than right in front of the front doors. And we're working on their behavior as well.
Is it, pretty much the same people most of the time. That's what I've noticed.
Yeah, occasionally a new person will filter through, but it's been the same people since I've been here for 3 years. We just have moved them off to the side a little bit now.
And they're not allowed there at night. So
No.
they're patrolling at night.
Yeah, and we do have the PD coming, doing drive-bys several times a day and during the night shift as well. Changes in the building. We had a little bit of extra money from the Friends of the Library, and then also by working at the door during the Sweet Homes Singing Christmas Tree, we also got a $2,000 donation from audience members there. So thank you for all of you that helped volunteer, or ones I made volunteer when you were there, because you were already there. So that was very successful. The Singing Christmas Tree was incredibly happy with how much the audience donated as well. But we've been buying some new things from our wish list from both of those funds. And the coolest thing that's come in so far is a new wooden gaming table for the teen room. Looks like a normal like kitchen table, but the top removes and then you can play board games down in it. It's like a pit, a little bit of a pit that you can play board games, and then you're not knocking stuff over. And if you don't finish the game, you could actually cover it up and come back to it later. And then there's some wobble stools that go with that, and the table's been put together. I put it together on Monday. It's been really popular already. So
Some assembly required.
honestly, very little. It was the most well-packaged piece of furniture I have ever seen. It's like everything was in its individual little foam container, and it was kind of odd, but it's very sturdy. And it was not that expensive, so
It's good looking too.
yeah. And then I didn't put it here, but we've also had our wish list. Always have a wish list going on Amazon. We publicize that during the holidays. We have had one of our families that comes to the Lego Creators Club every Tuesday. They have been buying us lots of different Lego parts off of our list, because we were very short on the little Lego people and accessories for the Lego people, and they've been buying. We only had a couple bags of them on our wish list, but they bought us far more than that. So it's been very fun. And the kids this week got to play with the new parts, and there's like 50 new little people, and they were almost fighting over who got which person. So very happy though. In-person programming, looking at our 2024 numbers, we're at almost a program a day. And almost even days we're not closed, not open. And some of those we have multiple during one day and then some none the next day or something like that. But it's definitely picked up since we're able to hire Kira and a lot more participation as well. We have a sourdough class coming up on Saturday. It has been full since well before Christmas. We can only accommodate about 20 people. So we added a second one in February. It's also full. On the Facebook event page, we've had, I think, 400 people be interested in taking it. We're not actually even making bread. We're just learning about the breading and then getting some a little starter thing from one of the local sourdough bakers. So it's been very interesting watching that one kind of grow and become this weird thing, and people calling every day and asking about it. And so that might be something we repeat in later in the spring.
Sounds like you could do it monthly and be okay.
Yeah, Kira's like, I don't want to live in sourdough. But it's mostly going to be, how to feed your sourdough and what to do with the discard and other things you can make with it, since we don't have the option to actually make anything at the library. I think if we had the room and did 100-person one, we'd still fill it. So it's been great. We've already scheduled some of our performers for summer reading because it's already summertime. And we're going to try, the Oregon Coast Aquarium is going to come out this year and do a program here. We're trying some other local as in just Western Oregon museums and experiences and seeing who we can talk into coming here.
OMSI does a great program if you haven't had them before.
And then a lot of the Portland ones have 100-mile radius, and we're like 99 miles. So I think Kira's been in contact with OMSI.
So what about that little passport stamp program?
The winter bingo.
The children came in and got a card, and then they went to different places and it got stamped. Is that what?
Yeah, that's still going on. All ages can participate in that. It's just our winter bingo. It's going through the end of this month. You just have to read for a certain number of days during that time and then visit City Hall, Chamber of Commerce, library, and a few other places around town.
How's that going?
It's going pretty good. We had one very excited, he's about 5, with who's doing it with his dad, and they were the first ones to go almost all the places, but they did that a little before Christmas. And they're the first ones to finish, like right after the first of the year they'd finished, because you have to read like 30 days in a row or something.
What's the prize?
Just for bringing things back, you get a free book for every bingo on it. You get a free book at the Friends of the Library, and then there'll be a drawing for, I believe, a gift certificate to a local place once we're at the end of the month. Sunshine Industries contacted us and wants to do a weekly or monthly movie showing for their clients. So we're working on scheduling a date for them as well.
And that would be at the library?
At the library.
Not at Sunshine Industries?
No, because our copyright licensing permit, we can only show within the building. We can't even go into our parking lot and show anything. Onto the new building. We received our final check from I'm not going to say this correctly, the Elite Revocable Living Trust. That's the Colorado land. That's what we've been calling it since before I got here. This one was for just over $355,000. That's the final amount from that. Overall, it ended up being about $850,000 that they donated to us.
And I know in the past we had talked, when we had a financial director, we had talked with that person about how the bequest is being managed. And so can you tell us how it's being managed now?
So it has been deposited into the library's account, so it'll just be library money and available for the library. If we want to, if we're ready to spend it, then we have to get your guys' approval and then also city council approval to move it into basically our checking fund. But right now it's just in a savings fund. Okay.
So it's getting some interest.
I believe so.
Because that was part of the issue was, is it earning money while it's sitting there?
Yeah.
While we figure out what's where, when, etc.
I believe so. I know savings accounts don't do too well in interest, but
Yeah.
it's also safer.
Right. But that's why I'm asking is I just want to know that somebody's paying attention to where it is and that it's being that it's on somebody's radar somewhere.
No, it's there and it's documented why it's there and how it got there and all of that. So it can't be
And it
taken
would
away from us.
Be nice if it could earn some money.
Yeah, that too. In other updates, I've been applying for grants. It's that time of year. Some of the things I've applied for, new books of various different types. It depends on the grant. One grant I'm looking at only wants Sherlock Holmes books. So I'm like, I'll try. But I'm also looking at better handicap access for the building. We've had some issues with our handicap door, which is back by the bathrooms. If you haven't been through it, the button sometimes works, sometimes doesn't. The battery is drained. I'm just looking at a newer system if I can get this grant, and then possibly also having an automatic door in the front door. Even though I know you can't if you're going up the stairs, but people trudge their baby strollers, their walkers, and everything up those stairs. That's one other reason why we have filled in the concrete that hopefully people would walk around, which if you have, but people are still trying to bring their walkers up the stairs.
Yeah, I've seen some mothers with the backpacks and then there's the baby somewhere in all that.
Yeah. So I should find out in March if I get that grant, but that's definitely a much bigger grant because it would cover that. The other ones are for just a few $1,000s here and there for different collections.
So I saw a few months ago on the OSU campus door access instead of the push button that we're all familiar with and have been familiar with for years. It's just a wave. You wave your hand in front of the sensor. And I just thought that was like really great.
Yeah.
So maybe we could actually get something that's more technologically what appears to be advanced.
I'm just going for a button that works.
Yeah. Well, I mean, as long as we're doing it, let's try to
Yeah.
get, because like the entrance to this building is leaves something to be desired. So I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah. Another thing is I was accepted to be part of the library's Advancing Community Learning to Reduce Substance Abuse National Forum they're doing in Kansas City at the end of May. I put in the website if you want to look at more information. This is basically, they wanted all different types of libraries, academic, public, small, rural, urban, just to come together and talk as libraries about what we see from our patrons related to substance abuse and how we can create policies around that. And they're, in addition to patrons, they're also want to talk about staff and families of staff as well to make sure that there's well-rounded, we're taking care of everybody that works with us as well as the patrons that come in the doors.
So it sounds like you knew about this national forum before you were asked to join.
It was an application process that came across because I've done a lot of mental health trainings and things. It was through that.
Okay.
And then it's fully funded. They're putting us up in a hotel and then give us a travel stipend to get there.
Yeah.
So, and I might be one of the smaller libraries going. That is all I have for updates. If there's any other questions. Okay, for statistics, this month I just added a column for the year-over-year change with the percentage, just because I like numbers.
Oh,
There's only two categories that we're down in. And one of those was only by 3 library card difference. And again, just pointing out the library cards are brand new members. So even if you had a library card 10 years ago, if you come back, you're still in the system. So that doesn't count as a new library card. And our volunteer hours are down for a variety of different reasons that I know we've talked about before. And then I do want to say that I couldn't do any of this without the amazing library staff, Kira, Joy, Sarah, Taylor, Tanya. I guess myself if I have to, but I work there. That having this extra staff this last year a little bit has been amazing and has allowed us to get all of these numbers up, and they will continue to grow and more people through the doors.
And more flexibility in scheduling time for
Yeah.
everybody, so you can accommodate time off and all that.
Yeah. Any questions on any of those numbers?
So the door count's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, that's almost 50% more. Can you attribute that to anything in particular, or
Just
word of mouth, or?
word of mouth, more programs happening in the library building itself. And I think just having more stuff that people want to check out or they want to come in and talk to us about or whatever.
So it'll be interesting to see what your year-over-year change will be at this time next year, given that you have these sourdough Saturdays. That should skyrocket it into the stratosphere.
Yeah. And if we only had more space to do bigger classes. And I've heard from so many libraries that their checkout statistics are going down. I think it's amazing that our community has increased our paper checkouts even, 16%, which is amazing. And then electronic has gone up even more. That one's a little more expected.
So how can we advertise that for you? I mean, that you're doing this amazing job, and there's this mutuality between the services you offer and the community. Seems like it's really coming together. I mean, I know you have the newsletter, but Library Appreciation Week, or bring your librarian an apple or something. Show the love.
I think it's just word of mouth, telling people to come visit the library, that we have new things. It's not the library that we were 5-10 years ago. Just come in, check us out, get a library card. Have your kids tell their friends, drag them along, all of that. We will be going up for a levy this year, for operating levy. So we'll be doing a lot more. I want you guys to do more talking about how awesome we are, but we'll be doing a lot more sharing of numbers like these as well.
Yeah, and probably using community organizations, Rotary and Chamber of Commerce, to help advertise the benefits.
I do not have a fiscal report. I do have a comment from our finance director. It says that we're right at 50% spent. The professional services is slightly over, but that's kind of expected on my end because that's the cost for some of our computer systems and for the courier that goes between the libraries, and those all went up a little bit more than expected this year. So I'm not too worried about that. It'll just be moving around from a different fund.
And you're starting to think about the budget for next year. I mean, has there been?
I'll start thinking about it next week.
Yes, January.
Yeah, let's just kind of get through the year-end stats and then start thinking about that. Then all I have for old business, if we're ready to move on to that, is just talked with those of you that were here last week about the strategic plan that I'd come up with for 2025 to 2030. If there's any additional comments, please let me know. These are kind of what I think the objectives that we were most focused on. They're not necessarily in any particular order except for the newer updated property, because those kind of have to go in a certain order. Can't break ground if we don't have a piece of property. But if there's any additional comments, I am all ears, because I know 2 of you weren't here last month.
My only comment was about putting dates on things. Come here.
There you go.
Yeah, my only comment was about adding dates to objectives. But I think we covered that yesterday, so.
And I can unofficially add dates as well.
Sure.
Because then if we don't make it, we're still okay.
Yeah, right. It's just a planning tool, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think having this as a planning tool will also help with the operation levy.
Mhm.
This is what we're planning to do with this money.
Yeah.
And at that point, we could absolutely add dates, like in 2026, we do this or this.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be good because some of the language is not as specific as I used to, but this is a planning document. It's not necessarily something that where we have direction to how it's going to be implemented. So I'm okay with this.
If there's any wordsmithing or any of that, I'm open to that. Otherwise, if everyone's good, I think it's a vote one. We'll vote on it and Cecily can determine.
So all those in favor of adopting the strategic plan for the Sweet Home Public Library for the years 2025 to 2030, say aye. Aye. Anybody saying nay? No nays. Thank you.
And all the other thing I have is just a copy of the newsletter if you haven't seen it already.
Get the newsletter out at the library. Is there a stack of them or?
Yeah. At what is typically the left-hand computer. There's a stack of them.
Okay, because I haven't seen them. I'll have to look over there. Is there any other business? So our next meeting is February the
14th, I think.
Valentine's Day,
Maybe not, but right in there somewhere.
The 13th.
the 13th. Yes, Thursday, February 13th. All right. See you all then.
Okay.
Meeting's adjourned at 5 p.m.
Right on time.